I recently had the pleasure of watching Matoke Shinkai's latest work, Kimi no Wa, otherwise known as Your Name. I've enjoyed Shinkai's previous films, but I thoroughly believe that this is his magnum opus. It's been breaking box office records both domestic and foreign, and has even been nominated for an Oscar, which is an incredible feat considering that this is an anime movie. Now, the premise of Kimi no Wa is that a country girl Mitsuha and a city boy Taki somehow wake up in opposite bodies. The two learn to live each other's life, and drama ensues as they begin to fall in love with each other. Now, I would have been content if the whole story was about this adjustment to a different life, but there's a mind-blowing supernatural plot twist, which I'll not spoil any further, that kicked my interest into maximum overdrive. Thanks to this plot, a lot of dramatic tension is added, which helps distinguish this between other romance films. Speaking of romance, sometimes it did feel cliche and a bit underexplained why the two like each other, though I guess you could chalk it up to them just being teenagers. But there are really great, heartwarming, and heartbreaking scenes because you learn to love these main characters, especially Mitsuha. The pacing was good as well, since it didn't feel drawn out or too short, except for the ending, which feels a bit rushed, which leads to my next criticism. I felt as if some scenes were missing. Side characters, especially Taki's friends, didn't get enough screen time. But more importantly, the climax regarding Mitsuha and father is skipped completely. Yeah, it does suck, but to me, it didn't drag down the overall experience. Hopefully a director's cut will address these issues, because it's probably a cause of its cinema runtime length. But in general, the story is an emotional roller coaster which had me on the edge of my seat until the very end. If you haven't seen any trailers, visually this looks amazing. All the scenes are highly detailed and the animation is fluid. Couple this with its impressive cinematography at times, and you get truly gorgeous scenes. My favorite examples of this has to be the time lapse of Tokyo and the shot of the comet in the sky. The characters themselves are designed to clearly distinguish them from one another, and I appreciate the effort to animate our two leads, Mitsuha and Taki, differently to indicate their swap bodies, with Mitsuha using more feminine gestures while in control, and Taki using more masculine gestures. The design is quite reserved and realistic, with appropriate bodily proportions, and no abstract hair like in many other anime. Also, fanservice is kept to a minimal, and when there is, it's used solely for innocent jokes that doesn't contrast with its theme and style. Shinkai always brings top quality artwork into his films, and Kimi no Wa is not an exception. The sound design is great too. The sound effects were generally what you would expect, such as explosions sounding like explosions. But other than that, Kimi no Wa sports a stunning soundtrack consisting of beautiful piano melodies and more upbeat rock by band Radwimps to emphasize the humor drama in the scene. I don't really speak Japanese, but I didn't have a problem with the voice acting. It was all pleasant on the ear. Should be noted that the jokes involving feminine and masculine pronunciations become a bit lost in translation for those without knowledge of the Japanese language, though it is easy to understand the gist of a joke, so it's not much of a major issue. Despite some minor flaws, Shinkai and his team have made a definite masterpiece. I highly recommend anyone who's even remotely interested in anime to watch this. Personally, I think it's worth paying to see, even on disc if you missed out on seeing this at the cinemas. And it helps get the message out that we want more anime to reach outside Japan. It's a very accessible movie as well for those who are new or don't watch many anime. I love this movie and I was overwhelmed by how immersed I got into it. I couldn't criticize this on the spot and had to spend time thinking of any negatives, which surely speaks volume for its quality. I'm fairly certain now that it's made my top 10 favorites, and of course I will be rooting for it to win an Oscar. To me, Kimi no Wa, Your Name, is as close to perfect as anime comes.